Hi, I'm Irene, and with me today is producer Mike.
Hello.
So, these are my latest additions to my collection of gouache paints.
Yes, that I felt you needed. You didn't know you needed them.
I didn't know I needed them. I was pretty happy with Holbein and Caran d'Ache. So what made you get these?
Well, I got a little email thing saying that the sale was ending soon, and I was like, oh, I better take a look. And it was an incredible price. The large tubes were 60% off from the normal price. And then the set, I guess, because it was a set of paints, the CMY Cave set, I believe was 30 or 40% off. I knew you're exploring gouache and trying things out, so I wanted to throw you some more things for content and for you to try out on the channel.
So the set was 5 milliliter tubes.
Yes.
And the set was called CMYK.
Yeah, so it's a mixing set.
Okay.
That leans towards, I guess, the cool, right? I think it's a cool.
Cyan, magenta, and
Yellow.
And black.
It's actually in printing, it's the process colors.
And it came with 2 tubes of titanium white. The large tubes were, like you said, those were heavily discounted. So you thought you'd just add some more mixing colors.
Yes, because I wanted to give you some more capabilities because the CMYK is going to be limited to different color. This way it gives you closer to a normal mixing, and then I picked the greens out, convenience greens, because I know you enjoy greens, even though you can mix them yourself.
Yeah. Now, that mixing palette is just the plastic inner tray from my Magello Fusion 33 mixing palette that I use for my Mission Gold watercolors. And I pulled that out because I like to use that for this because gouache is not like watercolor. I don't get a thrill of using gouache on porcelain the way that I enjoy using watercolors on porcelain.
It doesn't float.
It's different. Yeah.
Nice.
So I figured I'd just use that since I've rarely used it, or I rarely use it these days.
Yeah. Since you have the other palette.
It's a good size. It's plenty of space for me to make washes and things like that. And because with gouache, sometimes you do make washes with gouache.
Yeah.
But
to thin it, so you need to thin it out.
So this paper, this is my Hanamola bamboo mixed media sketchbook.
What type of paper? It's a mixed media. What do they call it? Is it a cellulose thin or is it a cotton?
Mixed media is the purpose. It's not what it's made of.
Okay.
What it's made of is bamboo.
Okay.
So it is, and I forget what the exact percentage is. It's like 80 or 90% bamboo, and then the rest is cotton, I think.
So bamboo's got fibers, obviously, are soft because they're making bed sheets out of bamboo now. So it's it looks like they can turn it into a soft.
I showed just a moment
in the beginning
ago.
I saw you.
I've only used it a couple times for not a painting project, but just for like the ink and wash doodle and swatching. Of some watercolors, and now this swatching of gouache.
So it looks like the size kind of lends itself to it because it gave you a little wider.
Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't so wide the other way, so it was easy to kind of create what you were doing.
And that's a good point because I do like this size, which is it's not like 9 by 12, which is what I think I started out with watercolors, and was with a 9 by 12, and that's a good size, but I don't necessarily want to do projects on that size, especially for the channel, which I guess makes a difference. Maybe I think for the channel, I'm conscious of how closely I want the camera to come in and how much I can put in frame.
Okay.
and
more of a
plus
horizontal format.
I just really don't want my hand to look like a Godzilla hand, right? Because, or some kind of giant ogre hand in there.
Exactly.
So I don't want to get too close in, but I don't want to get too far out where you can't see the brush strokes sometimes. So
so the colors look good.
But I missed an opportunity here, and it really bugs me, and that's for showing the opacity of these gouache paints. I should have put down a black line under, first of all, before doing the swatches.
Oh, okay. So like under each point,
right?
So you can see the difference between the straight color, slightly what do you call it when you add the white?
All of the
slightly
colors.
lighter.
Yeah.
And,
Something I've heard, and I've heard some people say that one of the things they don't like about Da Vinci gouache is that it's not as opaque as some other brands.
Okay.
So, and that's why I'm kicking myself now for not
to be able to actually
doing it a different way. But the way I'm thinking. And I'll have to watch for that in future projects. Yeah. And that is, these are, just looking at that there, these paints are highly saturated. They're highly pigmented. Yeah. I had to add a lot of white to get these colors into lighter shades.
Okay.
That suggests to me that if I add a judicious amount of white to these colors, I can get them to a point of opacity, if it's not there already, without significantly lightening the color.
The actual color, yeah.
Because notice
it doesn't really turn pink on the red until the middle one. It obviously is lighter, but it's still red.
Because notice on many of these colors, that middle row is not significantly lighter. In many cases. Yeah. Whereas the third row is where you really see finally, and I had to add quite a bit of white to get it light. So
that third row.
So I'll have to keep that in mind and find out in future projects if that's the case, where you just put some white in there, get it to a level of opacity, and then but still have that strong color.
Yeah, because even the black on the first row, you added white to it, obviously, but it doesn't look gray. It looks a little washed out.
Well, the first row is just pure color.
But I mean the second row. Second row. Yeah. It's not, you can tell that it's lighter, but it's not, right? Because you wanted to show a difference.
At this point, obviously, I've only swatched these. I haven't mixed them or worked with them in a project. But to me, just from this, it seems like they are highly pigmented, and I don't have any complaints about that, right?
Nice.
That's what you want in a paint.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this point,
now you just need to try it out on something else to get more feedback, and then play around with the opacity to see how. So now, the brush, you use the brush there. It really doesn't matter what brush you use, but your choice of brush was what for this project?
Princeton Select.
Okay.
Brush. The full name is Select Artiste. But, as you might have noticed on the brush itself, the handle, it just says Select. But I specifically wanted to try this Select line for gouache because in my experience with other Princeton brushes and in my research and looking at their different series of brushes, it seemed like that would be a good choice because it does have stiffer hairs. That's what I wanted with my gouache, because obviously I do not want to use my Neptunes. The Neptunes are very soft hairs, and I don't want to use that with gouache because gouache is, you use gouache a lot in its thicker consistencies. Okay. Much thicker than watercolor. Yeah. And I wanted bristles that would hold up to that. Yeah, because it's what's the consistency? What do they say? Usually gouache is like tea, milk, butter. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and watercolor, you're floating.
on liquid, so you need it to hold liquid. But a gouache brush, you don't really need water. You need it, but you need it to hold up to the thicker consistency paint to be able to
and
still load the brush.
Sometimes you will get a thin consistency, but other times you'll be using it in its thicker consistencies.
But it's still thicker than watercolor.
And the paint, it likes to stick to the bristles.
Okay.
And that's one thing that I think maybe someone who's moving to gouache from watercolor might not anticipate. It takes some work to get the gouache paint out of your brush bristles. And I really have to work when I'm cleaning my brushes. I really have to work those bristles to get the gouache paint out. I mean, I may think I've done it, and then I'll go to use it and realize, there's still paint in there stuck in the.
So that's something we need to. We're gonna have to concentrate on that for in the future. You have the brush soap now. Does that help? Brush soap?
I use the brush soap, like Master's brush cleaner.
Yeah.
And yes, I do like that. I could probably just use regular hand soap too, but I do like to use.
Well, since it's specifically for brushes, so you're assuming it's not going to leave any residue.
Yeah, and supposedly it conditions your bristles at the same time. But,
so it shouldn't be degreasing them, is when it comes down to.
Right, it shouldn't be stripping them. Yes, that's I don't know.
You want it clean, but not But yeah, that's interesting. So again, that would be another reason why you want a little hardier brush. Because to clean it, you would ruin your watercolor brushes if you scrub them that much.
So anyway, and so far it's working. I mean, you got me, I think, a set of 3 of the select brushes, and then I think we picked up a couple other ones at the store, and so far they're working fine with gouache, and I think eventually I might want to get some larger flats in that series.
So you can work with a little bigger projects.
Yeah, I mean,
future content.
I think VINCI has a good selection of colors, don't they?
Yes.
With the gouache.
Yeah, they do have a pretty good lineup. Yeah, it's fun. I like the way they look. I hope how they feel painting wise. I mean.
They felt fine. They're very. As far as consistency, I didn't have any issues really with their consistency. I was going to tease about upcoming content and mention that somebody forgot to cancel the True Fay
that must have been
subscription box.
That was somebody in the admin.
Pen and ink subscription box.
They must have missed a memo or something, huh? But yeah, that's true. We have another upcoming pen and ink review. Spoiler alert, it's a cool pen.
So until next time, whether it's pens or inks or gouache or watercolor, stay artsy,